Okay, chapter 13 of Joshua. There remain some lands yet to be possessed, so they haven't gotten everybody. Some inhabitants are not expelled. The inheritance of Reuben, Gad, and half of Manasseh are confirmed. So verse 1, now Joshua was old and stricken in years, and the Lord said unto him, Thou art old and stricken in years, and there remaineth yet very much land to be possessed. This is the land that yet remaineth, in the borders of the Philistines and all of Geshuri, from Syar, which is before Egypt, even unto the borders of Ekron north, which is counted to the Canaanite, 5 lords of the Philistines, the Gazathites, the Ashdothites, the Eshkelonites, the Gittites, the Ekronites, and also the Avites. From the south, all land of the Canaanites, and Mira, that is beside the Sidonians, and unto Aphek, in the borders of Amorites, land of the Gibeonites, Lebanon, toward the sun rising from Baal Gad under the Mount Hermon, unto the entering into Hamath, all the inhabitants of the hill country from Lebanon unto Mesra, Fahath, Maim, the Sidonians, them will I drive out from before the children of Israel. Only divide thou it by lot unto the Israelites for an inheritance, as I have commanded thee. Now therefore divide this land for inheritance unto thine tribes, unto the 9 tribes and the half tribe of Manasseh. So he's saying, you've got most of the land. There's still some land southward that needs to be cleared out and taken care of. I'm going to help drive some of those people out and get rid of them, so you don't have to worry about some of those groups. But now we got to start dividing this land out and helping Israel to be organized in these areas that they've now conquered, basically. Now, verse 8, with whom the Reubenites and Gadites have received their inheritance, which Moses gave them, beyond Jordan eastward, even as Moses, the servant of the Lord, gave them, from Aroer that is upon the bank of the river Arnon, the city that is amidst the river, the plain of Medeba unto Dibon, the cities of Sihon, king of the Amorites, which reigned in Heshbon, unto the border of the children of Ammon. It says children of Ammon, but it could be Ammon as well. Though those are people from Egypt, basically, the worshippers of Ammon, the sun god. Gilead, the border of the Jeshurites, the Maccathites, the Mount Hermon, and Bashan, and Salcah, all the kingdom of Og, which reigned at Ashroth. So that he's explaining these lands that are the inheritance of Reuben and Gad, those 2 tribes, and half of Manasseh. So again, that's that part of Israel that they said, we want to stay on this side of Jordan and not go to that side of Jordan. So Moses said, okay, we'll go fight. So now they're going, you're fulfilled. You can now confirm your lands and have them. So let's see, verse 14. Verse 13, excuse me. No, did I get those? Yeah, I got all those. So verse 13, nevertheless, the children of Israel expelled not the Geshurites nor the Maccathites, but the Geshurites and the Maccathites dwell among the Israelites until this day. So those 2 groups did not get destroyed. Those are 2 of those groups that were mentioned earlier in this chapter, that some of those were expelled, and the others, apparently they weren't, some of them they didn't worry about, so they were kept. They're allowed to stay and live in there and as a part of that area where the Israelites would be living as well. Verse 14, only unto the tribe of Levi he gave none inheritance. The sacrifices of the Lord God of Israel made by fire are their inheritance, as he said unto them. So, and this goes way back to the understanding of inheritances when the Israelites were organizing themselves under Moses to start doing the marching and moving around and things. Remember the Levites, the purpose of the Levites are to be the priests at the tabernacle. And they are to offer the sacrifices. They are to administer the ordinances in behalf of Israel, basically. So because their job is to be at the temple, or the tabernacle, I should say, doing all of those things that they're supposed to be doing, that they are also not giving an inheritance. They're not given land and crops and animals to take care of. They're devoted, focused solely on taking care of ordinances, doing this more spiritual work for Israel. So that's why they get portions of the sacrifices that are brought in to sustain them, basically. Verse 15, Moses gave unto the tribes of the children of Reuben inheritance according to their families. And the coast from the Aroer is on the bank of the river Arnon, and the city and Heshbon and their cities, Jazza, Kedemoth, Kirjan, Sereth, Mount, Beth Peor. I'm jumping through them real quick, of course. All the cities of the plains, king of Sihon. This is really duplicating the same things quite a bit to describe it in detail. So Balaam, the son of Beor, the soothsayer, did the children of Israel slay with the sword among them that were slain by them. So this is, if you remember, when they were going after the, I believe it was the Amorites. They went after the Amorites. The Amorites, the king called this man Balaam to come talk to them. And I believe that was, let's see, Numbers 31. Numbers chapter 31, I think, is where that one was. So you can go look up that video. We get into some more details on that. But we learn here that when Israel marched into that, remember, he called on this guy, Balaam, who is a prophet. He could talk with God and foresee things and prophesy things. He called him down to curse Israel. And when he went to pray about it, God said, you're not here to curse Israel. You're here to bless Israel. And so Balaam's like, I can't curse them. God won't let me curse them. There's nothing I can do about it. I blessed them instead. And so the king got mad and he's like, what good are you? What's going on? Come here with me and help me out. And Balaam tells him, look, I understand, but God is not, they are blessed of God. I can't curse them. I can't curse them if God won't let me curse them. This is God's priesthood, his authority. I can't do it if he doesn't let me do it. So that was a downer for this king, but Balaam did remind him that if Israel is wicked, they will not be blessed. So I can't curse them, but if they're wicked, they break the laws, then they won't be blessed by God. So that will kind of lower their help from God in the battles. So what did he do? He got a bunch of women to go basically trick the men of Israel into having relationships with them and convince them to break the commandments, thus preventing the blessings of God to help them. And so because of that, God was mad not only with Israel for being dumb enough to fall for it, but then really mad at Balaam and the other ones for encouraging this. So we find out that Balaam, while he was there during the fights, it almost sounds like he had left, but he didn't. He was slain and destroyed among those people. Verse 23, the border of the children of Reuben was Jordan, the border thereof. This was the inheritance of the children of Reuben and their families and the cities thereof. Moses gave inheritance on the tribe of Gad as well. So they had that, a part of this area as well. So they're on the east side of Jordan. Gad and Reuben and half of Manasseh basically is where they are at. And then let's see. So it just goes on and describes the countries, the lands, those kinds of things where they were at. So they distributed those. So because the war is basically done for the most part, the men of Gad and Reuben and this half of Manasseh get to go home. So they spent their time warring. It probably took a couple years to go through, 1 or 2 years or something. Now they're going back to home to take care of their lands, while the rest of Israel is going to inherit the west side of the River Jordan, basically. So let's look at among those, the rest of those 9.5 tribes in chapter 14.